Hi, I'm Andy. Welcome to Python Puzzles. Puzzle 1. Let's just do some basic stuff. Let's get some text on the screen. Let's get the user input. Sounds super easy, but like I said, I'm going to give you some existing code to read, so it's not just following along, typing what I'm typing. You're going to have to read some code and understand it. It's going to be fairly basic, but there you go. Also, think of this as you making the computer do what you want it to do. I don't know what kind of level you have at coding, how much you've done before this, but just think of this as you taking control, and you're no longer just going to be using the computer. You're not a recipient of the computer. You're making the computer do stuff. It's just some text on the screen, and it's just inputting an answer, and I'm pretty sure a lot can go wrong, but you're making it do something. You're taking control, and the more time you spend at this, the more hours you spend doing coding, the more you'll be able to make that computer do. And eventually you'll be able to make it do so much, people will pay you to do it. Whether that's a professional developer job or another job that has a coding component. An awful lot of jobs involve coding. There's a lot of jobs where they don't ask for coding, like they're just general office workers, but if you go in there and you can use your programming language to automate stuff, you can do the work of 4 people while watching YouTube. So let's get puzzling. The first thing that we want to do is we want to go to the GitHub repository. The link's in the description. We want to go to the code drop down, the HTTPS, and copy this URL. Okay, this is the URL we're going to use to clone the code. Now, before we go any further, I've in a separate video covered all the software that we need to download, but just quickly, you're going to need to have Python installed. The IDE I'm using is PyCharm. You can use Visual Studio if you want, but I'm using PyCharm. I'm going to be using GitHub Desktop as the Git client to download the code, or to clone the repo. It's better just to use a Git client because that's what all professional coders use, because we're all uploading and downloading code into the same repository, and it's better just to have a visual representation of it. So I would recommend downloading this and using that. Otherwise, if you want to use the command line like you see a lot in YouTube, you have to download Git to be able to use the Git clone commands I'll show you later on. So okay, with that done, you've copied the URL, open up GitHub Desktop, File, Clone Repository. In the URL tab, paste in that URL we copied. In the local path, I've decided to save everything in a Git repos folder on my C drive. That's good enough for me. Take control of the file structure yourself. Choose where you want to save it. So just hit clone. And that's it. We don't need to look at anything else in this because we're not uploading anything to the repository. So if we look at that folder, there you go, there's the code with the main Python file. I'll quickly demonstrate again how to do this using the command line, so I'll delete this. In the command prompt, and again we have Git installed, I can change directory into the Git repos folder, and I can do git clone, and I can paste that URL in. And if I hit enter, you might be prompted to allow it through your firewall. It downloads it, clones it, and there's the code again in a folder. Let's open PyCharm, the community edition. Okay, and it's it's kind of picked up that I'm in Console Beginner Puzzle 1. You could go to File and Open to get here, but it's kind of giving us a Create Virtual Environment pop-up, which looks okay to me. So we'll be saving our virtual environment in the VNV folder. Inside Console Puzzle 1, we'll be using the base interpreter for the whole system. So that looks good. 3.12, we'll be cloning that into the virtual environment. And we'll be loading the dependencies from our requirements file, this is exactly what we want. I'll click OK. It's not usually this easy. Let it install the packages. I'll close the README and I'll open up the main Pi. Yeah, so just to explain what just happened there, if that didn't happen for you, down in the bottom right hand corner, this demonstrates, this shows you what version of Python you're using and if you're using a virtual environment. So this one here, the Python 3.12 without brackets, this is a system-wide version of Python. So if I was to use this, and you could use this for these puzzles, it just means any dependencies you download for these puzzles would be downloaded to your full computer system and would be able to be accessed by any other program that selects this. So you're kind of saving everything in the one workspace. Professional programmers, though, we will have many different versions of a client's program, and we'll have multiple clients. So we don't want them all sharing the same dependencies, the same software. We want to have them in their own virtual environment. So this has been created by that pop-up window there, our own little virtual environment for Puzzle 1, which is exactly what we want. If that didn't happen for you, you can just click this again, go to Add New Interpreter, Add Local Interpreter, choose your virtual environment selection there, select New, whatever location you want. I usually just call it VNV because it's the name of the virtual environment software that comes bundled with Python. Choose your interpreter. The folder has to be empty, so this is showing an error because the virtual environment's already been created, but otherwise you would click OK. I'll also bring your attention to the requirements files. This is all the dependencies we have. This has kind of been auto-loaded in as well, so you might get a pop-up, a bar at the top saying should we download the requirements, and click accept requirements and it should automatically download these, although there's nothing really much to download. So that's how you use the IDE for the virtual environment. I'll show you for the first couple of puzzles how to do this by the command line, which an awful lot of people might be using. So you can see when we open up the terminal here, it's got in brackets VNV, which is the virtual environment we're using. So if we do it's PowerShell, so if I do an ls command that lists everything there, so we'd cd into our VNV folder, which is a virtual environment folder. We do another ls command. We want to cd into the scripts folder. This is where all the stuff that runs the virtual environment lives. If I do another ls command, you can see that we have activate and deactivate. This is what runs or starts and stops the virtual environment. So in PowerShell, I can type deactivate and it will get rid of the virtual environment. See the brackets VNV's gone, and if I type, it's weird in PowerShell, I have to type /activate and it's back. I've got a whole video demonstrating how you can do this for both PyCharm, Visual Studio Code, PowerShell, and if you're using command prompt, in a video just before this. So hopefully you've watched that and that's nothing new to you. So I'll just get rid of that and then we can go through the code now. So when you're looking at main.py, the first thing I'll draw to your attention is we have several functions. So we've got example A, puzzle A, example B, puzzle B. So we've got all these functions, examples and puzzles. At the very bottom we have this if name equals main. So this is really where the computer starts looking at the code. This is the main function, the main module. And I have example A, example B, and example C uncommented. So when I click the play button, the run button, it will run example A, example B, and example C. But the puzzles have been commented out using this hash character. So these won't run unless you uncomment them. Yeah? So what I would do is I would run the examples, have a look at examples, and then I'd look at puzzle A, and then I'd uncomment puzzle A, and I'd have a shot at puzzle A, and then I'd have a shot at puzzle B. You can also comment out the examples maybe if you've had enough of them running. Maybe just have puzzle A running first, and then do puzzle B. So this is how this would work. But for the moment, let's just get the examples running, and Nothing else. Comment out the puzzles. Okay, let's take a look at what I'm asking you to do. In a professional coding job, it's unlikely you're going to be right there at minute 1 of the whole project where everything's blank. You're going to be doing this in your own personal projects where you start off with a blank screen. But in a real job, you're going to be part of a team and you're going to be reading a lot of other people's code. You might also be looking after, programs that are 3, 5, 15 years old and have tens of thousands of lines of code. So to kind of simulate this, I'm giving you examples before I give you the puzzles. I want you to look at the example and understand that the puzzle isn't going to be a million miles away from the example. So you have to read and understand the example and then try to code the puzzle in the same way. You might do something that's better, that's fine, but what an awful lot of teams do is they agree on sort of coding structures and ways they want the code to look. So there's 18,000 different ways of coding something, but you all have to code it the same if you're going to be part of a team. So you want to read the example code and then code yours the same, so you would pass code review. If you were writing code that was working but completely different from everything else that the team had agreed to, they would just ask you to rewrite it in the way the rest of the program's been written. So you may as well just kind of learn to do this right at the very start of your coding career. So we have example A. It looks like we're just printing an example A statement. It looks like a new line character. Take a new line, print example A. Looks like we've got a choice variable and we're getting a user's input. And the user's input is saying, would you rather be a parking enforcement officer or a clown? Well, tough one. And then it looks just like we're printing out the choice that they have. So we're printing you choose, and then we're using something called string concatenation, which is really just adding the user's choice onto an existing string. Building a string using another string to just add on the end of it. Okay, so that's interesting, but what's the puzzle asking us for? It's asking us to create a program that asks your favourite colour, and it's asking output, so it's going to look like this, except it'll be about your favourite colour. It's asking you to use string interpolation, not string concatenation. And it's saying string interpolations look something like this. We know it doesn't look like this. It doesn't look like plus and then the variable name. So if you don't know what string interpolation is, you have to go away and learn what it is and try to write this program. It's going to look similar to this, but not quite. So again, go away, search Google, search Bing, talk to ChatGPT, whatever you need to do to find the answer. Example B. It's a message, I wish I had chainsaws for hands or at least nuclear arms. And then it looks like it's using string concatenation again, and it's taking the message. So we've got a message variable here. We're kind of saving this string as a variable, and then we're printing it. That's another way of doing it, rather than just printing it out. But anyway, we're not getting user input this time, that's why it's just print message. But we're also changing it to lowercase, so the i's should be lowercase i's. Yeah, I'd think. Puzzle B. Okay. Write a program that displays the message. I was too sick to do my homework. And then display the same message in all capitals. So we're going to have to use something here instead of that. Make it all capitals. We have to use string interpolation again, not string concatenation. So no pluses. Okay, have a go at that, guys. You should be able to do this. See, they're kind of building on each other. Example C. What's your favourite food? What's your favourite drink? Asking for the user's input again, saving them as variables. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Ask the user to input a folder name and ask the user to input a file name. Okay, so it's giving you something a bit more realistic here if you're doing scripting. And it's asking you to learn how to escape backslash characters. So you can display all this sort of stuff, but you're going to run into problems with the backslash characters. So you have to kind of go away and learn that and have a go. Okay, guys, I'll demonstrate this to you once more by sort of clicking play here. And it should display the three examples because they are running down the very bottom. So example A, example B, example C are the only ones running. The other ones have been commented out. So would you rather be a parking enforcement officer or a clown? I'd rather be a clown. Oh, and it's displayed everything else. You chose clown, but as a trick question, they're both clowns. Okay. Example B, I wish I had chainsaws for hands, or at least nuclear arms, and then it's converted it all to lowercase, and the I's have been converted to lowercase, so that worked. Example C, it's asking for our input. What's your favourite food? Hot dogs. What's your favourite drink? Cola. If I was to take you on a date, we would have hot dogs and cola, but you're far too ugly for me to ask you on a date. Okay, right, well, that's all I needed today, guys. Go away and try to answer these puzzles yourself. I'll give you a demonstration of some possible answers next. But yeah, go away and try it yourself. You can do it. The solution code is available in the GitHub repo. If you click the drop down that says main, you can see the branches here. Just click solution. And although it looks the same, this is actually the final code. Just click main.py and there's all the answers. Well, hopefully you had a go at solving these puzzles yourself. I'll just demonstrate some possible solutions for you. So first things first, we'll go down to the bottom and I'll comment out all the examples as I've demonstrated them. And I'll just run uncomment puzzle A just to run puzzle A. So puzzle A, your favourite colour. Write a program that asks for your favourite colour. It should output your favourite colour is, and then the favourite colour. Use string interpolation to print the answer, not string concatenation. And it's telling you there's three types of sort of string interpolation here. That's a very good hint. So really all you really needed to do for this one is Google string interpolation Python. That would probably have given you the answer. Anyway, let's ask them what is your favourite colour. Looks like we'll be copying this, something like that. But we can call the variable fav color. Yeah, that's probably a better name than just choice fav color. We can have input. What's your favourite colour? We could also maybe just add in a new line character here to make sure this is in a new line, if you're interested in that, just like we've got for puzzle A. I'll also highlight that fav underscore colour, this is called snake case. Snake case, that's the way you write variables in Python. This is a bit different if you were in C# or another language. They use camel case. So just different standards in each language. You could do it this way in Python. You could call it whatever you want. You could call it fav color. But if you were to show that to anyone else that's a professional Python developer, they wouldn't like it. They'd want you to use snake case. So there's a quick lesson. So fav color, and then we're just going to have to use some print statements. Your favourite colour is what the puzzle wanted us to display. Now, probably one of the most obvious things you're going to find on Google is to use format. So they do dot format at the end of the string, and then they have brackets. And then in there you can put in the name of the variable you want to add into the string. And then within the string itself you can put 0 there in curly braces. This will put fav color in there and that should print string interpolation. If I copy this again, there's another method. And you have to start adding f at the start of the string to get rid of fav color. Get rid of the curly braces. And you can use %s for a string variable. And then after the string, use %, and then brackets, and then whatever the variable is. This would also, you would also have different percentage signs with different characters after them, depending on what this is. So this will just replace the first string with this string variable. And the final one, and this is the one I use myself all the time. Again, you just pick favorites, right? And then you just put the variable within the string itself. So as long as you've got the F at the front of the sentence, you can just put curly braces and the variable in there itself. I think this is the best one, simply because it's readable. It's very readable. You don't have to think, okay, this goes in here and this goes in here, what's the numbers? This one almost certainly came a bit later in the Python language. These two were probably there before this one. So that last one is what I'll be using going forward. Okay, let's take a look at puzzle B. In fact, let's run puzzle A first. What's your favourite colour? Right, let's type in red. Your favourite colour is red. So all three of these produce the same output. Excellent. I'll close that terminal. I'll go down to the bottom. Comment out puzzle A. Uncomment puzzle B. Okay, there's example B. Puzzle B, I was too sick to do my homework. Write a program that displays the message I was too sick to do my homework, then display the same message in all capitals, uppercase. Use string interpolation again. Okay, so this is going to be very similar to this, right? I'm actually just going to copy and paste this and then edit it. You're going to be very good at copying and pasting if you become a professional developer. So the message variable is going to copy and paste what we want the message to be. Get it in there. And then to change this to all uppercase, you can actually just use upper. Really, the purpose of this was for me to just introduce you to the fact that there are existing functions to do this. You could go away and you could write your own code to change this into upper class. You could write your own function, call another function. There's tons of stuff you can do, but why go through all that when someone's already done it? So just dot upper, use the existing libraries. And let's run that. Yep. Oh, well, I should have changed that to uppercase. It was just, okay. So again, that's highlights that you should read everything you're copying and pasting. So that should work now. And then puzzle C, the last one. Let's comment out puzzle B, uncomment puzzle C. Puzzle C, folder names. Ask the user to input a folder name, then ask the user to input a file name. Display the file path, okay, using the user's input. So really we're just using string interpolation again. But we'll need to learn how to skip the backslash characters or use raw strings. So I'll demonstrate both of these for you. So let's get two inputs similar to above. So what will we call it? Folder name first. And I like putting sort of colons here just to tell the user that they've, visually that they've got to put in an input and file name. Okay. So now we have to kind of create this string here using string interpolation. So what I'm going to do is just to make it more readable, I'm just going to call it file path. And I'm going to have that string there. You would put F in front of it to highlight this, but you see how it's now highlighting the backslashes as it doesn't know where it is. You would have to comment out these backslashes, and probably the easiest way to do it is just to put in another backslash. So backslash is commenting out this backslash. Just kind of like when we do a new line, if I just continue here, you wouldn't just type N, you'd type backslash, because we want it to treat that N as a new line command, not as the letter N in a string. So do a backslash. So it's kind of like just highlighting the fact that this is a command you're getting. So that's why you do backslash. You will be using this. If you've not seen it before, you'll be using it a lot, my friends, in your career. You will see that a lot in your career. And we can just print this. And that, if I could spell correctly, that would be good. Another way of doing this, so this is, I'll just put in the comment. Escape control characters. Another way of doing this is using raw strings. And what I'll do is I'll copy this and I'll paste it, and I'll demonstrate to you what raw strings do. I'll call it filepath2, filepath2. So if we go back to this, you can just add an R at the very start to make it a raw string. So this means that the interpreter will read the string literally and just will not accept that inside this string there can be control characters. So it will not accept if I demonstrate the new line character, it will just treat that as /n, not as a control character at all. Also, I've got an F in front of it there because we're using string interpolation. Again, you don't have to. You could just have an R. But that would do your raw strings. You will use raw strings a lot in Python, especially for user input. If you're getting a user's input, they could potentially start writing stuff in the input that you don't like, commands that might run in your program, control characters, things you don't like. So it's often good to just make the user's input a raw string, because that way it will not accept that there can be code within the string that it has to run. So let's demonstrate that. If I run that, input a folder name, secret folder we'll call it, input a file name, right, that's what it's not that. So there we go. Both the approaches worked. Congratulations on completing your first puzzle. It was an easy one. It was very useful just to show you the structure of the puzzle file and how to get the environment set up. If you'd done Python before, you probably didn't even really need to do much Googling. My plan is for these puzzles to get more and more complex, but I'm going to take you through the whole repertoire of things beginners need to know. If you're interested, I have another channel, C# Puzzles, where I do the same puzzles I'm doing in Python but in C#. So this is a really good way to learn both languages. C# and Python are both used a lot by businesses, so it's good to know both. And this is a good opportunity to kind of broaden your horizon. So thank you very much for taking the time to view this video.